yeah, it's the best job in the world. Yeah, I was actually looking forward to come back to play Champions League. If you have Bojana Pupovic, give her the ball because she's so good, but also you're a little bit afraid of making mistakes. For me, this is also very important to play attractive handball, but first of all, smart and as a fighting team. Hello, Jakob Vestergaard, head coach, Odense Handball. Welcome to Handball Mastermind. There's a big tradition in Denmark for playing handball and football, and at that time I loved actually many sports. I was not the best, but I enjoyed pretty much to practice and to learn and to develop. And my dad was my coach at the beginning, so he said, yeah, why not? Let's try it. And I was a little bit younger than everybody else, but for me it was good because school was maybe not the most funny thing. I had a lot of energy, and therefore to go to practice was actually what I loved at that time. I was around 20. I had to go to Aarhus to study at the university, and there I need to do something. I've been playing handball for many years, and then I went to Aarhus, and many good clubs also there, and they heard that I've been playing for some years and asked me if I was ready to play for them, but I said no because I wanted to prioritize my study. But I need also a little bit of work and a little bit of extra to do. And then I started to be a men team coach in the second league in Denmark. And actually at that time I was 20 years old, and I had some guys who could be my father at that time. But it was a good start, and I pretty much loved the first years in Bidermaling. For me it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it pretty much. Also it was tough at the beginning because when you don't have so much experience, you have to discuss many things with the players. But actually I loved it pretty much, and also to see results, not only winning matches, but also see how players are developing. At that point it's actually a little bit easier to be a top coach now because you have many possibilities where you can get some help. Of course, playing a little bit myself was actually the beginning, but also in Denmark we have a very good system regarding education. The federation is doing a very good job, so every year, every summer I spend 2 or 3 weeks to take my education, first in Denmark, and of course afterwards also master coach in the European Handball Federation. It is also something where I learned a lot. And then watching, when I'm out speaking with the young coaches, I always say you have to steal what is best from the top coaches, and then you have to create your own style. And actually I did the same when I was started as a coach. I had a little bit from the beginning, and then I took all the best things that I could get from all the top coaches. And of course also looking about the players that I had at that time, and try to build the best play concept, because it's not only about stealing exercises or coaching style. You also have to watch at the potential that your team is having to build the strongest team and to build the strongest team performance. This is what I love, actually. There are so many cultures in top teams where you have to find a way to develop all the players. But again, to have some of the best players, you have to develop them, you have to make them as one team regarding good team building. And what I'm doing is actually, I like to speak with my players. I used to spend time with them regarding what they are doing good, what they are doing bad, what they have to improve. Because of course, if you are in this first 7 players who are always going to start, it's easy. But if you're number 10, 11 or 20, then you need to know what you should do better. And therefore I'm open and fair. I spend a lot of time speaking with my players about rules, about the way that they can develop, to make sure that they will accept the way I want them to play, accept the way that we are playing regarding the play concept. And also once in a while speaking with them about what are you good at? I'm very good to play 1 against 1. Yeah, I agree about this, and therefore we have to find a way in our offense system where we can play 1 against 1. For me, it's about speaking with the players, being open and fair about this. Well, first of all, many players came and said, Jakob, we hope that you will be ready to take the top position as head coach, because we believe that you can do it. And of course, as a young coach, this is very important to have the dressing room ready to support you in the way that Viborg players did at that time. But of course, as a young coach, you have a big motivation, but also you are a little bit afraid of making mistakes. But when you are a top coach, this is part of the daily life. You will make mistakes, and it's not about how many mistakes, it's how you can use the mistakes and develop also with your team. I think many teams will lose matches, but it's about how you are going to develop, how you're going to analyze the defeat, and how you're going to practice next time for winning the next match. This is what it's about. Well, actually, I still believe that to have the best players in the world, then you can create also the best results. Also, you can do it different ways. If you don't have the best players, you have to build a very strong team. But actually, at that time, we had many of the best players, and if we were able to create this team spirit, we were also having the possibility to win the Champions League. And therefore, we made the way to success was actually to, of course, to keep the individual stuff, to keep the individual skills, but also to create this team spirit, to have players who are actually very good to do this. Rikke Skov, Henriette Mikkelsen, some of the best players in the world as well, very good team players. You also have to accept that we are in a team where we have to create chances for each other, where we have to work for each other, where we have to build the power together, because to build the power alone, it's difficult in handball. She was excellent in offense. Defense, not that kind of freedom. Defense is more about rules, what we want, where we want to open, and therefore my defense is more about rules. Offense is a little bit more creative, but of course creative in a way where we're going to use what we are good at. If you have one of the best pivots in the world, of course use this. If you have good shooters, of course be ready to shoot from distance. If you have Bojana Pupovic, give her the ball because she's so good. Greg Juak, mentioned before, one of the best shooters in the world. Of course we should find or create some kind of play that could put her in a good position. But of course, as a playmaker, maybe best player all time, you had this potential as coach. A little bit the same with Christina Niago, where when you talk with her and Bojana, you can hear that they are living handball actually. So of course it was obvious that they have this possibility if they want. And then a little bit of education, because even though that you have a very good handball mind, you need also to know a little bit about how the wing players are thinking, the way in defense and so on. But with Bojana, Niago, excellent players, excellent coaches, of course, because they can see many things before actually it will happen in a game, and therefore, of course, they will have a possibility to be with top coaches. Watching the Romanian national team for many years with so many good players and not top performing, I believe that I could do something for, at that time, Belzea or Remnicu Vulture. That there were so many good Romanian players that a little bit the same like Viborg, we had the possibility to collect some of the best players in the world. I needed to do something else. I needed to test myself outside Denmark. I've been in Denmark for many years at that time, and therefore when they called me, I was, of course, as always, looking for possibilities, what was good, what was not that good if I went to Romania. Looking at the team, looking at the goal setting, because if I'm going to take a new job, I need to know the goal setting, if it's realistic or not, and if it's not realistic, it's not a job for me. But I think it was a realistic goal setting. I think that the potential was big. I thought that I could work with the Romanian players, the international players, to create a culture where we could win the Champions League. And therefore, at the end, it was easy to say or to accept this offer, because a new challenge, a good team, a good goal setting, and therefore, yeah, I was very happy for the year. As a coach, it's always about looking at the players who are there, build the best play concept, build the best culture that you can do, and then you have the biggest chance to make a top performance teams. And at that time with Niago, Bolatovic, we had some of the best players, Wanamanias, pivot, wing players on a very high level. Actually, it was about creating a good play concept, but to bring in some other cultures, actually we also find a solution for that. And I always like the summer where you're sitting watching the tactic board, the names. Okay, how should we play to make the best performance? We had, the first matches, you need to win because then it's easier as a coach. The players believe that you can do it. Media are believing that you can do it. But we also have the long-term goal setting. We know that we must be good in March, April, May. We need to be good at, hopefully, Final Four, Champions League. Every team is different. For me, it's always about building the strongest team performance that we can have. If you have players on a very high level, actually you don't need to practice that much. You need to make sure that they are fit because they are so good. First of all, you have to look at the players and then build the strongest concept that you can with these players. And of course, I have ideas when I'm going to start, this is what I want. And then develop it during the years. And it's also a little bit easier if you've been coached for many years because you know what is working and what is not working. After winning Champions League twice, it's a little bit easier to convince new players about, I know this is working. Trust me, we will win if we're doing this way. Or when I started, it was a little bit tricky because then not many believed that this is the way that we should play. But after many years in coaching career, it's a little bit easier to be top coach now because players know that you have won Champions League, you have been there before, you have developed players, so they believe more in what I'm saying now than at the beginning. Again, it was the same story as in Romania. I think there were so many good German players. I believe that we could create a very good results together, and therefore I had some of the German players before. Anja Althaus, Grijuak ended her career, so therefore she was not there anymore, but she was my assistant coach. Knew some of the players from before and believed that I could create this very strong system and make very good results. But actually, again, look about the goal setting. Of course, speak with the management about this. What is the goal setting for this team? As a coach, you have to ask the management always, what is the goal setting? Is it realistic? Do you believe that you can fulfill this or not? If not, then don't take the job because then it will be a disaster. Yeah, I can fulfill this. I hope that I'm the right one. I believe that I'm the right one. I can see that I can develop this team in this direction. So therefore, this is always one of my questions to the management. What is the goal setting for this team? What do you want me to do? After 2 years, if you should say that I've been a success, what is then the main target that we received? And I did the same with the German national team and ask them what is the goal setting and then to try to fulfill this. Of course, this is maybe what is most important as a coach to be able to do this. And for me also to do it my way, because I don't want to do it like anybody else. I have my style. I believe that this is the right way. I know that it could give results if we have the possibilities, and therefore this is also why if somebody is going to hire me, this is the main reason, because they believe that I can fulfill the potential, the goal setting for the teams. Yeah, I've been in Viborg for I think 10 years or more. Of course, it is a little bit like coming home at that time. Viborg was another place. They didn't have the financials to buy the best players. We had to develop players. And therefore, again, I ask the management, what is the goal setting to develop, to come back, to be again a top team in Denmark. We managed to play European final against Bittingheim, actually, and we also managed to, with Viborg, to play final against Odense. And don't ask me about the results there as well, because we lost. But again, to develop players as Anna Christensen, Christine Jørgensen, Alina Hausted, many good players where we actually created I think a very good work, developed good players, and now they are some of the big stars out in Europe. And for Viborg at that time, I think it was actually right to change it a little bit and to try to rebuild. And for them, it's actually also going pretty well now. But it was, it was not Champions League. It was European League. It was try to beat Odense and Esbjerg in Denmark. Once in a while we succeed, but many times we lost. But that's also okay if you don't have the best players. Then it's actually also okay. Yeah, I was actually looking forward to come back to play Champions League. Champions League is something special. Wow. When we hear the music, when we make preparation, when we are traveling around in Europe, playing against different cultures, way of playing, coaches, players, this is something amazing. And if you have the possibility as a coach, you should take this, because this is extraordinary. And I missed it a little bit when I was in Viborg, and therefore I took the chance to go to Bittingheim when the possibility was there. And Bittingheim, wow. Markus Gaugisch, the coach before me, had done a very good job. And actually there was a good culture and good players. And to try to just do a little bit different, then actually we had a very good top performing teams. Of course, we didn't have the best players in the world, but actually the team performance was very good. Zenia Smith's amazing captain for the team. Started to play a lot more with her, and the way she played the first year, wow. One of the best players in the world, amazing. But actually the culture in Germany, hard workers, good culture, fans actually amazing. So I was very happy for the year in Bittingheim. We prepared everything, and this is also always a goal setting for me, to be a little bit better prepared than our opponents. After the match, we should say to each other, me, assistant coach, team manager, that we did everything that we could, so the players had the possibility to give the best performance on the field. Because of course, if you have the best team in the world, it's a little bit easier, because then you don't need to make a top performance always, because less can do it. But with Bittingheim, we knew that against Metz, it was all in, every situation, every player, every system. We need to know this very, very good, so we could act. Of course, with Gabriela Morecki as a goalkeeper, she was amazing. She saved our aces. But again, many players actually did a very good performance, and we were very good prepared for the match. And of course, I'm not that happy with the final against Germany, but actually our team was not the biggest. We were very tired, and therefore it was not easy for them to win, because actually again we made a very good preparation, but it was a clear win for them, and we have to accept this. Odense is one of the top clubs in the world, have potential to go to play Final Four, also to play finals, also to play Champions League finals, and this is also the goal setting, that we can come back. Odense did it last year, an amazing performance, many good players, the foundation is very good, the club is working pretty well, many spectators, very good atmosphere. So actually it was easy for me to accept this challenge. And I'm still happy that I did it, because the potential is big, and we have the possibilities to not only play finals in Denmark, but also in Champions League. Yeah, of course. If there is no pressure, there is no ambitions. And of course I could take another team where there are not this kind of pressure, but this means that maybe we are not able to go to the Final Four in Champions League. And for me, of course, I would like to win the titles in Denmark, because this is also the qualification for the Champions League next year. But Champions League is for me something special. Yeah, like I said before, you are playing against different opponents, you are playing against different cultures, you are playing against players that maybe you haven't seen them before, you're starting your preparation. So this is something extraordinary. Odense is like coming home. I like everything in the club. I like the way we are playing. Until now we had a little bit too many injuries, and therefore the way we are developing is a little bit too slow than I expected. But actually the results until now has been good, so I'm happy for this. I'm happy for my players. And they are working hard, they are working good, they are trying to do what we are telling them to do, they have good ideas. Some of them actually are also a little bit funny, but I also think that to have the possibility to laugh together, to enjoy together is very important. We are spending many hours together, so therefore it cannot be too boring. They are very ambitious, they are asking to develop, they are asking to do good results. So yeah, I like it pretty much, yeah. First of all, many players enjoy playing for Odense. It's not a work for them, it's a dream for them, and therefore this is something special. And we are trying to protect this way of thinking, that I'm not here for working. I'm here to fulfill my dream to win the Champions League and to play the finals again. And therefore, every morning when I awake, I think, okay, how can I improve? How can I work for Odense to be even better? And of course, it's a very strong competition. There are so many good teams, but this is some of the things where we have to do better than the rest. We have actually, the ownership here is very strong. They are spending a lot of money, but again, many clubs are having a lot of money to collect the best players, but this is where we have to be, or to create something different, that it's not the work, the reason why we are here, it's the dream why we are here. And if you are coming to Odense, you have to accept this dream that we would like to go there one more time. You cannot make everybody happy. When I'm going to tell 7 players that they are going to start, there will be players who are not happy about the situation. I know that they will accept it, because we talked about the situation, that we need every player in this team to be on fire when the possibility will be there. And of course there will be ups and downs during the season. It's again about respect for the team, for your teammates, for the coaches, and where you're saying, okay, this for the team will be good, that today I'm not playing that much, or today I will play a lot, so somebody else can have a rest, or that I'm giving my best, I'm making a top performing and scoring 10 goals, and therefore for the team this is very important. And the way we're doing this is, of course, speaking about it, that if you're coming to Odense, you will have a role. You will not only sit on the bench, you will have a role, you will have something where you can develop, you will have something where you are very good, because otherwise you will not, we will not find you interesting, because we are a top team. And how to develop as a team and as an individual, because we believe that actually both we can do that. And we hope that we will develop the best players in the world on each position, and many of them, because we know that if we should make a top performance in June, then we need many players to top perform and be ready to do that. When I actually started my coaching career, training was what was my biggest motivation. To create good trainings, individual trainings with a lot of intensity. But right now, matches is maybe making me a little bit more on fire. As I said before, the goal setting for the players, to develop players, for the clubs to fulfill the club's goal setting, my goal setting, and to do this is something everyday work. So this is for me actually something that I like pretty much, the work with the players every day, to see if we can be a little bit better together. if we can develop the next national team player for Denmark, for Norway, for Holland, for Spain, of course we would like to do this, to see that players are developing, to see players having success, is something that is for me, gives me a lot of motivation. And of course, to see that spectators are coming again and again and enjoying that we play good handball, that we are winning matches, that they are supporting us, is something where I'm saying, wow, I am pleased that I'm having this job. And it's actually not a job, but it's more a dream for me. So therefore, for me, it's the best job in the world. Smart and fighting team. I always hope that if you're watching my team, that you can see that there's a good strategy, that we have a good play concept that match our players, that you can see that we are putting Mia Højlund in good situation for Mia Højlund, that we are putting Ingvild Bakkerud in good situation for Ingvild Bakkerud, that we are having a good defense, the best defense that you can have in Odense, but also a fighting team. We have a tradition that we want to win every match, and it's not that easy because with Champions League, with the Cup, with the Danish League, we are playing so many matches. Even though that we have an ambition that we are fighting always, that you can see that the way my team or the teams that I've been involved, that we are fighting a lot. We know that this is very important to get results. We have this Scandinavian, Danish tradition where we are fighting a lot. And for sure, I hope that spectators, that other coaches can see that. We have our play concept, we have a strong defense, we're playing with a lot of speed because we know that we are good to play with a lot of speed, but we also know that it's very attractive for spectators to watch that we are running a lot. For me, this is also very important to play attractive handball, but first of all, smart and as a fighting team.